folks. It's so good to be with you. It seems so long. I hope you have been keeping well. Hope you have been keeping safe. We think about this as you go about your groups and things like that. It's good to see this lovely season around. I'm sure if you look out your windows, if you're fortunate enough to be near trees or a park or even have a garden, you can see that the autumn has come. But with autumn comes lovely colours. And today we're hoping to bring those colours into your home. And what we're going to do today is to celebrate autumn or to celebrate the harvest, whichever way you think. And I'm sure you know that lots of these pumpkins are around in our stores. Some of them are very gigantic. This is a lovely rearrangement we want to make together. Now these wee pumpkins, they're just nice tabletop size. They're available in Tesco's. I saw them just a night or two ago, and also in Marks and Spencer's. If you prefer, they're only 65p, and they're quite some size. Now I'm not good at eating pumpkins, so you'll forgive me. But what we're going to do is we're going to make this awkward-looking pumpkin, this plain-looking pumpkin, into something that can sit on your table as you come in through the door, or in a table in your living room or in your kitchen. There's a couple of wee things just that I need to tell you as we go along with it to keep it from going bad. All right, we'll start that again. There's a couple of wee things I just need to tell you that we can secure it from going bad. All right, so let's bear with it. Here we have the pumpkin, and as you can see, there's some sides of it are good and some sides of it are bad. And what I have here is an oasis. Now these oases are available in a Wise Buys, or if you can't get them in Wise Buys, I've got this one in the Home Bargains. At the minute, they're not easily come by, so you may have to go from one store to the other. But what I propose for you to do is when you get your oasis, it's a good idea just to cut it in half and then to cut a nice little wedge. Look, you can see you can get 4 of those wee wedges out of one sheet. So if you had a couple of wee friends that you want to give those as a gift to, it's so lovely, because with 4 pumpkins and an oasis and 2 wee bunches of flowers, I'll tell you where to get those in a wee second. You can make 4 lovely wee gifts for harvest. So what I've done is, like, just so that you know, these are oases that need to steep in water. All right. So I've got this one already steeped. But what you want to do is to cut out. Let me bend this down a little. We're going to cut out the shape of this wee wedge shape on the side of the pumpkin. So can I suggest you get a pen, and before you start soaking this, draw around the shape of your wedge. Now you might have to start paring little bits off here and there, but that's the nature of flower arranging. All right, nothing's exact, and it comes as a personal. So this is the dangerous part. You really just need some sort of a knife that will cut through this, maybe a steak knife or a bread knife. And if you're not happy about doing this on your own, get someone that you know that'll work with you with this. I really just want to use this to push down inside, right? And then to go along the line, one of the lines, as far as it'll go. Rock it if you have to. Now don't forget, the flowers are going to hide some of it, all right? So don't worry. Then on this bit, rock it a little, Try not to stab yourself while you're at it. Just please be very careful. And as I say, ask someone that you're happy with to do that. Go along the lines that you've drawn on the outside. Now, that little wedge shaped, you should be able to pop out. There it goes. All right. Just pop that out. Now, inside it, you'll see the stringiness, and you can smell the pumpkin, the seeds, and the stringiness of it, and the smell. And just lift you. Now, look, you don't really need to scoop that whole lot out. You can if you wish. Just tidy up the edges of it here and there around it with a little sharp knife. That'll help your wedge to go in. All right. Just tidy it up. As I say, you don't need to scoop that out. If you feel you want to, just use a big spoon. But look, this is the part that I need to tell you that's going to keep your pumpkin just without the stink. Because if you didn't spray it, it would really only last 2 or 3 days, and then you would start to smell. You'd smell the smell of the pumpkin. You know what I mean? So if you get a nice wee spray, one of those sunflower spray oils that you would do in the pan, and then very carefully around the edges, just spray it. I mean, that just seals the edges, and it'll make your wee pumpkin display last a whole lot longer. All right, spray inside it. Just be careful of your clothes. Always have a few tissues beside you. And then when you have sprayed the inside, wipe around the excess from the outside. Now look, as I said before, I have this one here soaking. This is what you call a 2-minute oasis. You can get them, and you have to soak them for longer, maybe 20 minutes. But as I say before, Wise Buys and Home Bargains have these 2-minute oasis. It just means that when you put it in, it only takes 2 minutes to soak up. Now, look, I want you to try your wedge alongside what you have cut out. And if you feel it's much too big, take your wee knife again and pare away a little bit of your oasis. Now, not too much, because you really want to have it to sit in there without wobbling about. So look, I've just taken basically a little slice off a couple of sides. Now, here we go. Now already you can see it's a nice tight fit. So with the palm of your hand, please don't use your fingertips, because all your fingertips will do is just put big dents in the erasers. Use the palm of your hand and gently rock it until it's just in and left out a little. Now look, it's nice and neat and tidy. Don't push it all the way in. You really need to have about the width of your thumb around the outside so that you can put some of the flowers on the sides and at the top and at the bottom. So now look, you're ready. You're ready to start to decorate. Now, the stuff that I have here is really just available in some of the communal areas that you might be in. Maybe you have an open walkway. Maybe you have a garden. Maybe you have neighbours who have flowers, shrubs, and trees. What I have with me today is this, like a bay leaf. All right, this one has just got in a communal area on a walkway. I also have this lovely two-tone. It's almost like holly, right? But without the spikes. And then you've got the old good, old faithful oak tree, and they bring a little bit of shape, and they bring a little bit of dimension to the whole thing. And then just to give it a lovely wee bit of finesse, these lovely wee palm leaves, all right? Nice and fine. You really don't need a whole lot. But what you're better doing is you're starting round on the outside of it, starting with the biggest of your leaves, all right? Now, when you're putting these into the side or into the front, just make sure that you've got a length of stem. In fact, don't be scared to pull off some, all right? A length of stem, because you really want it to go in without making a giant hole, all right? Push that in at the side. Now, when you're pushing in your leaves or when you're pushing in your flowers, don't put them straight in. Put them in at an angle, all right? Because then you'll find that they won't fall out just the same. I'm going to continue around with some of these bigger leaves, all right? Don't forget, you really don't want it that much bigger than the palm of your hand. Look, not much bigger than the palm of your hand, because you don't want to hide the pumpkin, all right? And although your wee flower arrangement is nice and tidy, you really don't want it to take away from the pumpkin either. So continue then to put in some of the leaves, all right? Put one more of this leaf in. Some of you clever clogs could probably tell me the name of this. Maybe just one in underneath. Don't forget underneath, all right? Otherwise, you'll just have a big skirt. Put one in the underneath. Now we're going to put on one or two of these others. All right. This is the oak tree. And if you're very lucky, sometimes you can get them with an acorn or two still on it. I'm just going to cut 2 or 3 off and then find, I'll get rid of that first. Again, this one's much too big. I really want you to take some of the leaves off it. All right. Cut down a little. Make sure you take these little buds. See these wee buds? If you don't take the buds off, you're just left with a big hole. And the things will just fall out on you. All right. I'm going to push this down. Put another one in. What you're going to try and do is make a triangle of the same leaves. Okay. So try not to put the same leaf together. What I want you to try and do is make a triangle if you're going to use them 3 times. Even if it's only 2 leaves of the one tree, it'll still work out. Now we're beginning to see a backdrop of leaves. I want you then to think about the front. All right, so these leaves are quite heavy and quite big. I want to start now and make it a little bit more refined. Okay, this brings a wee bit more finesse to it. And I want you to start then to fill in around the space that we've left. No more than 3. 1, 2, 3. Even start putting them on the front now, okay? But never stick them in straight. Put them in at an angle. Now I want to start in some of these nicely fine leaves, like a little palm leaf, all right? Now these are very fragile, so be very careful when you're putting them in. Give yourself a little bit of a stem, all right? And when you're pushing these in, push them in from the bottom. See, from the tip. Push them in from the bottom. And that'll start then to give you a nice sweet finesse to it, a nice sweet gentleness. look, all the way you're doing this is you're giving them some lovely different colours of green. You know that old song, 40 Shades of Green? Well, they're going to be here on your pumpkin, those 40 shades of green. Be very gentle to push those down in. Follow it down with it, all right? Otherwise, you'll just bend and break it. Maybe just one more. This one. Not so big. Let's see where I am with this. Now, look, I think you've got as much greenery on that as you would want. All right, there's three different leaves. They bring a different dynamic. Some of them are of two colors, some of them are fine, and some of them are quite heavy. There's basically 3 of 3, and that's as much as you would want on that. We're going to start now to bring color to it, all right? And I really don't want you to forget about the sides either. So I have got these flowers, autumn colors, of course, lovely oranges and crimson, yellows. You'll find that you'll even need to have a little bit of white in it just to break up the colors, all right? And then you'll always have something as a crown, your crown jewel and your pumpkin. And this one here, I have a lovely little pink Gerber. You could put a rose in there if you liked, you know, or something big, maybe even a sunflower. But these are the colors we're going to use. So let's start off then with the darkest, because if you were ever painting or doing a painting, you start off with the darker color first, and then the lighter color gives it that wee lift. So we're going to start off with a dark color. Now, like, you don't want your flowers to be hid, all right? So when you're cutting your flower, you really shouldn't have it much bigger than your big finger. Can you see that okay? Don't have it any bigger than your big finger, because if you push it in too far, you're going to go beyond your oasis. Again, with the 3 colors, I want you to make like a triangular shape, all right? As if you've got the 3 corners on a triangle. 1, 2, 3. Make sure you take the leaves off, otherwise you'll find that it'll fall out. Let's see where I am. 1, 2. Help it in from the bottom. Always push it in from the bottom. 1, 2, 3. Now we want to use a lighter color of orange, all right? Some of them are much bigger, so they help to fill in the spaces where there's lots of greenery. So if you can look, don't forget along the bottom where you find a big space that's really dark, one of these lovely colors will take away the darkness. Isn't that a lovely thought? Taking away the darkness. And some of us have been through that these past year and a half, the darkness. Again, you're going to think of a triangular. 1, 2, and then 1 over here. It doesn't need to be so big. Now the colors are starting to come in. That's only 2 colors, and yet you can see the difference that has made. Now, I told you before I didn't want you to forget about the sides. So if I start then with the yellows, right, some of those sides are quite bare, and I want you to push those into the side. Now, you might want it to sit out a little bit more than the others, okay? Push them into the side at the yellowy color. as you can see, the sides are just as important. Don't worry too much about the bottom. Now, I have a couple of Gerbers here, which I'm going to put in before I start putting the white in. All right. And as you can see, there's a great big hole left here, which is just full of greenery. I'm going to put this Gerber in, which hopefully will take all of that away. You can, of course, get them in different colors. So Lidl's have a lovely range of Gerbers and these colors to go to, and of course Tesco's as well. And both of them are very, very accessible. Excuse me. Make sure, as I say, you push it in by the flowers from those two places are very affordable. All right. So now have your jewel in the crown, but as yet you can see that the colors are just orange and red and deep colors. I want to just to start to lighten it up a little. All right. And then what you can do is just put a little bit of white. No more than 3. And I have to look at the front of this because I'm looking at it upside down. Where you see a dark color, put in a little bit of white. Don't forget underneath. Now, I think we'll have enough flowers on that. You're really only just going to put 6 or 8 flowers in that. But I want to finish it off by bringing a little bit of finesse to it, something that gives it dimension. And I have some of this, all I can say is stringy stuff. You'll find them growing everywhere. Little tiny leaves and great big long shoots. What I'd like you to do is think about just getting 2 or 3 of them, putting one out the side. Opposite sides, just brings a wee bit of finesse. Oh. And then I have one more just I want to show you. To put in there. Oh, it's gone, has it? No. Here we go. Now, I want to tell you, I'm lucky enough to have a garden. And I'm lucky enough to have birds coming in, little hedge sparrows. And one day last year, I put out a handful of seeds. And what happened was, as the birds ate, they started to drop some of the seeds. And the seeds fell into the side of my garden. And then in a matter of months, these barley ears started to come up. And I said to myself, they would be lovely to use on a wee wreath. And there you have a very simple. And thankfully, when you're making your own, you'll be able to choose your colours. All right. Of course, you can still do the same with Christmas, but this makes a lovely wee autumn harvest arrangement. I hope you've enjoyed that. It is a bit messy, but flower arranging always is. If you're using water, it always is. Chums, we're always worried about you and keeping safe. We're always thinking about you in our activities. It's good to see some of you who come along to that. And there is other opportunities for activities open to you in different places. You can go to the Dementia Friendly East Belfast website, at Dementia Friendly East Belfast.com. And also you can go on to our email, or sorry, our website, and look at some of those activities arranged for many different peoples and many different activities in many different ways. Until we meet again, I hope you enjoyed that. Keep tuning in and keep safe. Keep your distance. Keep washing. Keep covered up. Bye for now.